let's take a look at how we can make a Google form into a quiz. So you've got your questions that we made earlier. Now let's look at how we turn it into a quiz. I'm going to go to Settings, and there is an option here that says Make a Quiz. I'm going to turn that on. When I do that, I'm going to get some more options. So I first have some options about releasing grades. Do I want it to immediately release the grades after submission, or do I want to make it later after manual review? Now, if you have all questions that are going to be able to be graded automatically in your form, and we're going to talk about how you do that in just a moment, then you may want to say immediately after submission. But if you have questions in your Google form that are paragraphs, they are essays that you are going to have to read and grade manually, then you may want to select later after manual review. Either one is fine, but just know that if you've got to grade anything on your own, you may not want students to know their grade immediately. We're going to come back to this locked mode and talk about it in just a minute, but you also have some options for the respondent settings. So once a student submits their form, their quiz, do you want them to be able to see which questions that they answered incorrectly? If so, you can turn that option on. Also, do you want them to be able to see what the correct answers are after grades are released? Do you want them to be able to see, okay, I got this question wrong, and also here is the correct answer? So you may want to turn that question on as well. Then you can also decide if you want them to be able to see the point values, how much each question is worth. You can turn that on. And then under Global Quiz Defaults, you can decide how much you want each question to default have the point value for. I leave that set at 1, but as we will talk about when we look at actually setting up an answer key in a moment, you can change the point values on any question. It will just default to 1 for every question that you create. So those are the settings that we have for making a quiz. So let's go look at how we actually make an answer key. So on my questions that I have, so I have this first question, what is your favorite season? And now that I have turned on the quiz setting, I'm going to refresh my thing, and I'm going to notice that when I click on a question, down here now it says answer key, and then it says 1 point, because remember we set 1 point as the default for each of our questions. I'm going to click on answer key, and then it's going to show the points up here. If I want it to stay at 1, I can leave that, or I can always adjust the point value. Then I'm going to choose what the correct answer is, and it's going to highlight it in green and put a check mark beside it, and then I can hit done. I can do that for all of my question types. So here on a multiple select or a checkbox one, I can select all of the answers that are correct. I'm going to go to answer key once again. I'm going to select any answers that are correct. If I want to change the point value here, if 3 of them are correct and I want to make that 3 points, I can do that. I'm going to hit done. And you can do that for each of the question types. Now, you can set a answer to be auto-graded for a short answer question as well. And let me show you how to do that. So let me go down to the bottom, and I'm actually going to add a question in, and I'm going to say, what does the R stand for in Roy G. Biv? Okay, so I have my question here. I'm going to make that question type be a short answer, and then I'm going to select answer key. Now for a short answer key, you can list any answer that you will select or accept as being correct. So the R in Roy G. Biv stands for red. So I'm going to think about all the ways that a student might type this in. So they might type in red with a capital letter R. They might type it all in lowercase, or they might type it all in uppercase. And so I'm going to accept any of those 3. And then I can choose to mark all other answers as incorrect, and then I'm going to hit done. And so now when a student takes this quiz, as long as they answer it in one of these three ways, it will automatically grade it and count it as correct. Something else that you can do in the answer key, I'm going to go back to the answer key here, is you can actually add answer feedback. So when I click on answer feedback, I can enter in feedback here. I can type in anything that I want. I can add a link to maybe an article or a website that would give them more answers or more information about what they missed. And then I could also add in a YouTube video. So if I wanted to search rainbows, because I am talking about the colors in the rainbow, then I could search for some things like that. And then I could choose whatever video that I want, and I could pop that in there for students to watch as feedback if they got it wrong. Okay, that's on a short answer. If you do the same thing on something like a multiple choice question, you actually have a couple of options under feedback. First of all, you could provide feedback for incorrect answers. And again, you could add text feedback, a link, or a video. And then you can also add feedback for correct answers. So for an incorrect answer, you might give them resources to help them go and learn further to correct their answers. Or if they get a correct answer, maybe you give them a link or a video that helps them to dive deeper into it. Or maybe you just give them some positive feedback because they got the answer correct. So just a couple of ways that you can add to your form and auto grade it and give students that feedback that they might need for those questions. Let's go back to settings one more time and talk just a moment about locked mode. So if you have students taking a quiz or a test, and they are taking that quiz or test on a school-issued Chromebook, you can activate locked mode on a quiz. And when you do this, then the students will only be able to take this quiz when they are logged in to their school-issued Chromebook, and this is the only tab that will open for them when they are taking that quiz. They will not be able to go to any other tabs, look up any answers, do anything else on their Chromebook when they are taking this particular quiz. So this is really nice if you want to have a little bit more test security and make sure that students aren't looking up answers while they're taking the quiz. So that's how you create a quiz, add an answer key, and lock down a quiz in Google Forms.